Hi everyone, welcome back to my Makeup for Beginners series. I know a few of you have asked for this one in particular, and I'm going to talk about highlights and contouring today. This is probably the trend of our generation next to eyebrows. It can just get a bit overwhelming. So today I just wanted to break it down really simple, just a little bit of sculpting if you're a beginner, show you how to do it, and nothing too fancy. I'm not going to layer all these products like you've probably seen a lot of these tutorials do. I'm just going to use a little bit of a contour kit and going to have a little bit of fun. So the basics of highlight and contouring are to do with light and creating the illusion of highlights and shadows using makeup to sculpt the face and make your features look more defined. It can also give a slightly slimmer look to your face if you're kind of enhancing cheekbone lines and everything. I've got this sleek contour kit here, which is what I'm going to be using today, and I like to use an angled brush. To start, I'm going to get a tiny bit on the brush, tap it off as I always do. I generally just follow the slight shadow I have already. For some people, you might have a different bone structure, and for that I would recommend going like this, or you can actually feel it. You know, maybe don't do this when you've got a full face of makeup, but you can literally feel that your cheekbone and where it moves upwards like this, and you want to get your contour just underneath, like around this area here where it sort of sinks in. And I always like to start up here and then sort of bring the excess down slightly, but you don't want to go down here because that's going to give you too much of a sunken look. You want to keep it quite high up. It's just enhanced the shadow a little bit without looking like a really obvious line. If I ever feel like I've put a little bit too much on, or I might just do this anyway just to show you, I get my powder brush that has the excess powder on it, don't add any more, and just buff over that because it will just blend it in a little bit extra. And that is literally it with powder contour. It's the easiest thing. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, and then we'll move on to the cheeks. I also find for day to day, less contour is obviously more, because in daylight, contouring in real life looks very obvious unless you're very subtle with it and make sure it's well blended. Whereas at night, if you're taking flash photography or anything, you go into a special event, you can amp it up a little bit because in the harsh, like artificial light, it will look better and you will be able to get away with more. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to move on to blush now, and I wanted to mention blush because I use blush and apply it in a way that does enhance my cheekbones, so it does actually lift and sculpt my face a little bit. I like to apply my blush up here rather than on the apples of the cheeks like we're always taught, just because that again gives the illusion of a more lifted cheek, and it will, when people look at you, it will attract their eye upwards. So I'm using one of my favourite blushes. This is from Natural Collection and it's matte. So sometimes if I'm using a really shimmery blusher, I will skip highlight altogether, but because this is matte, I like to layer it underneath my highlight. In relation to where your contour is, you want your blush to be sort of just above your contour really. So you can probably tell between them. This side of my face just looks slimmer, looks more lifted and awake. So now I'm going to highlight, and I love the highlight in the sleek contour kit. So I'm going to use the Real Techniques contour brush, and I've been quite subtle with my contour products, but with highlight I do like to, you know, amp it up a bit more because I find generally you can get away with more highlight, especially if it is a really nice tone for your skin. If it isn't, it can look really harsh and obvious, but you know, highlight is really in right now, so don't be afraid to just have fun with it. So my blush, my contour's here, my blush is here, and my highlight is going slightly over the top of my blush, but right on top of my cheekbone, if that makes sense. So that is just a little bit added, and it just catches the light again with daylight, and during the day it's trickier to get away with loads of highlight and contour. can definitely amp it up at night. And also sometimes I've seen people do this kind of in a backwards C shape, so actually doing this sort of halo effect around the eye, that really helps lift the face. So that is a really simple 3-step method to contour and highlight your cheekbones, make them look more lifted and sculpted whilst still looking natural and pretty without any harsh lines. So great for beginners, definitely try it out if you've not before. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. I am loving these makeup for beginners videos because they're so much fun to film. I love sharing my tips. Let me know what you want to see next, and I'll see you in my next one.